Okay, well, I want to talk about this because a lot of people, not a lot of people, okay, well, okay, a good amount of people, I would say a lot of people are interested in this where, I either get DMs or I'm on stream and it's a constant thing where people are still asking me, am I still working for No Jumper? And I feel like I should just like make this video explanation just to explain what the hell's going on with me and No Jumper, right? Guys, I at this point am no longer doing any like content or streams or anything with No Jumper at this point. But I'm not, like just gonna like I don't know. Okay, like I want to like give a full explanation. So like, 'cause people are gonna be like wondering like why you left, what's going on, all that stuff. But realistically, for anyone that remembers, No Jumper for a long time, I was just like a video editor. I was like editing videos behind the scenes and helping, set up cameras and just helping with production stuff for a long time. And then slowly and surely, I was like just going on camera and doing certain stuff on camera. And I'm super grateful for all the opportunities. That's why I also want to kind of like talk about this, because it feels it's not that huge big of a deal, but like for me, like just thinking about it, it's like trippy, dude. Like at one point I was just like a viewer, like I was just like watching. I'm sorry guys, I'm gonna mute TTS temporarily while I'm going on this rant just because I'm recording this, but I will replay all TTSs once we're done. But either way, like at one point I was just like a viewer of No Jumper. And if anyone like wondering like what's the whole layout of like how I became even with No Jumper, all that stuff, maybe I could just like give like a quick summarization. But basically at one point I was just a viewer. No Jumper at this point was still in downtown LA, and I grew up in West Hollywood, so that was like pretty far for me. And also it was a BMX shop. I was like just a new viewer. I was like a big fan of of them and their content, of Adam and his content. But it was I was a fan of everyone at that time. Phil was there, Nate was there, Alf was there. There was like a bunch of other people that was a part of the mix that made the vlogs and everything interesting. But either way, like there was like really no reason for me like to go to the downtown spot, whatever it is. I was just like watching. But at a certain point, they chose to move, or they opened up their BMX shop on Melrose, and like that was literally like a half a mile from me, so it was like super super close. And at that point I just like and also it was like not only was it super close, but it was on Melrose, which was also where Brooklyn Projects was. And at that point I was hanging out at Brooklyn Projects all the time, just skating the back ramp. Huge shout out to Dom and also my homie Dylan, because I was just like hanging out there thanks to them. But either way, they moved to Melrose. And at a certain point my homie Dylan, he was already working for Brooklyn Projects. Dom and Adam start talking. Dylan starts working for No Jumper, and then I start hanging out No Jumper in like the Melrose shop a ton because my homie used to work there. Shout out to Dylan. And at a certain point, Dylan was kind of like getting fed up with me. He was like, "Yo, bro, like you keep just kind of like tailing me around just because you want to hang around like here, you know what I mean? Like it gets kind of like frustrating, especially when he's like working." So he was telling me like, "Bro, like make some friends around here, just stop tailing me around." And I just I started becoming friends with like different people at the shop and shit. And at this point I became friends with Chris Long through like dabbing basically. And Chris Long put me on to like helping him with like a bunch of stuff that had to do with No Jumper. And for a long time I was kind of like just like helping Chris Long help help No Jumper type shit or whatever it is. And like after doing that for I think like 2 years or some shit like that, it turned into a thing where I got like a full-time job there. And I was doing that for a long time. I feel like a lot of people like kind of found out about me through that period where like I like after I got that full-time job I started becoming more getting on camera more and more and all that stuff, like getting invited on the show for like a couple minutes or certain live streams and shit like that. But either way, like that turned to like a whole full-time job. And it was like a crazy ass experience. I learned a ton. And like the whole idea that I didn't go to college for video editing, I didn't go to college for video production, I didn't go to I didn't get any like type of like credentials, like actual credentials. I barely had any experience, to be honest. So it was like a huge opportunity given to me, and I was like super grateful for it. And a lot of things like snowballed from there. But then flash forward many years. No Jumper's gone through like many different like waves and bumps and all that stuff. But flash forward many years, I was still doing like the behind the scenes content. And this is when No Jumper was like at their old spot that you guys probably remember, like with the corner table and all that stuff. But this It was at their, like not like the place that they're at right now, like the place right before it, basically. I forgot how you would even name it. The old HQ, basically. I don't know, but either way, I kind of forgot where I was for a second. Okay, yeah. So basically, I was still working there behind the scenes, doing all that stuff at that point there. And it got to a point where I did the Gulag stream. I did a couple 24-hour streams. I think I did the 5-day stream. And I was like getting so much support and growth on my streams in the YouTube channel. And this was honestly, even before No Jumper, this was like my main goal, which is like, to try to become a content creator of some sort. I was doing daily vlogs for a long time. I did a bunch of other different vlogs and shit. And then at a certain point, I was getting like so much support from the Harmonies gang, from you guys, that I was just like, all right, like, I feel like I can't squander this opportunity. Like, I gotta like, take advantage of this as much as I can, and like try to like double down on the work and try to see like what this can actually lead to, you know what I mean? And or take advantage, the opportunity of like what's happening at the moment. So I was like, bro, I gotta double down and see what I can do with this. And for a while, I was like really thinking. I was like talking to Blasey, talking to Riley when I was working at No Jumper full time doing the editing stuff. I was like, bro, like it's scary to leave a consistent paycheck every month for who knows what, you know what I mean? Like for anyone out there that does like the entrepreneurial world, I guess you can consider this, where you don't have a consistent paycheck where it's like every month you're gonna make an exact amount. Like with the whole YouTube content creator world, like you really don't know. It's like up in the air sometimes, unless you're some sort of Aiden Ross or huge, million subscriber YouTuber. I guess you can have some sort of consistency, but I feel like for a lot of people, it's like it really fucking varies. So it's like it was really scary jumping into doing that. But shout out to Blasey for believing in me and like talking to me that whole time, and also Riley for believing in me and talking to me, telling me like, yeah, you should like take this opportunity, and do this shit. And also at that time, like I said, I have a lot of stuff to thank from No Jumper for like opportunities and all that stuff given, but there's also a lot of stuff that like I wasn't super happy or psyched on, you know what I mean? Like there was like, it's old shit, so it's like no point in like getting back into it now, but like there was like certain stuff that it was like kind of turning me off from the situation, and I was just like, bro, like let me focus in on this. And honestly, one of the big things that also kind of hit me as well is a long time ago, Academics had like came in, and he had this conversation with Adam, and he was like talking about, and I this was already playing in my head. Obviously, a lot of people think about this, but I remember Academics came in and he was talking about like the long-term shit, and then he had said like, yo, like what happens if Adam like just decides to like double down on the plug talk shit and not even care about the No Jumper stuff anymore? Like, what are you guys all gonna do? And I was like kind of thinking about that. I was like, that's kind of true. Like realistically, like I'm super grateful for that huge opportunity, but at the end of the day, I have no college credentials. I have the only credentials to my name, I guess, is the fact that I worked for No Jumper for so long as a video editor and all that stuff. But I really got nothing behind my name that could like really probably help me so much in like the whole career aspect world. So I was like, damn, like I would be like kind of like let up hung and dry. So I gotta like try to work on other stuff that is more beneficial in the long run for me. So that's where I kind of like really made the decision after that, talking with a bunch of people. I was like, you know what, let me take this risk, leave the full-time shit, and then focus in on the streams. And that's where I have to like give the Harmonies gang a huge shout out, because like after that, like it really showed me that I was like, bro, like if I take this shit seriously and not fuck around, like this can become something really consistent and like also fulfilling for sure, 100%. And then after that, basically, I was still doing Disconnected. Obviously, Disconnected is no longer. We do Reconnected now on BBE. And I was still doing the news streams. And I was still doing that for a minute because I was like still cool, like getting like an extra paycheck on the side. I still loved working with like, the people I knew there. It was still a fun experience. But as you guys know, like, those Adam comments came in on the No Jumper, I mean, like from the No Jumper account while I was on stream, but he since then has like apologized for those comments and shit, and I appreciate him for that. But there was like that happening, and then like and then also like I was barely even there for the No Jumper news, but it was definitely a thing that played on my head where whenever I did those No Jumper news streams, sometimes, like I would say like 50% of the time I would do that news stream, and then I would come home, and instead of hopping on stream myself, I would think like, yeah, I was already on stream today, let me just edit clips or do this or do that, and I would end up not even streaming that day because I would think like I already streamed. So I feel like me taking this break, or not break, but like just exiting that, not doing the news anymore is really like it's not gonna be that big of a deal. But also it would be not that big of a deal for me as or like for the money being lost and also like the time it takes. But I think it would be more beneficial as in like now I really have more of a free schedule where like I can be like, oh, we can go to SF for the next 3 days, we go to SD for the next 4 days or whatever it is. Like I have like a more freer schedule to keep up with my streaming ideas and all that stuff. So it's like it's so weird, you know what I mean? Like because like this it's not a dramatic thing. I feel like sometimes people expect shit to be so dramatic where I'm like, oh, Yuri was a part no jumper, now it's just like, oh, I'm out, fuck that place or whatever it is. But like for me it's kind of a thing where you always have to play into like, what do I want to do with my time in my life. And it became a thing where I was like, you know what, like I think I do want to try to double down even more and focus more in on my content and my streams and my ideas and try to make that more consistent or even more adventurous. Or I just have more free time to focus on my shit basically, rather than focus on other stuff where I felt the benefits just weren't there. You know what I mean? So that's basically that was like the whole deciding factor. And that's the whole reason why I'm making this whole recording, is because I know there's gonna be so many questions of like why I made the decision or what happened. Is it fuck no jumper now, blah blah. And to be honest, it's not. It's like I have a lot of stuff to be grateful for, because at the end of the day, people, like I said, there's things that I wasn't unhappy about for sure, but also at the end of the day, bruh, I came in like literally with little to no experience, and I was like kind of fired and rehired multiple times as well, like two, 3 times. So it was a thing that I have a lot of stuff to be grateful for. And I feel like I'm not in the shoes to be like, or I feel like I wouldn't feel good inside, or I wouldn't be justified in being like, screw that place forever, blah blah, whatever it is. It's just I feel like in my my personal shoes, the way it is for me and what happened in my life, it's been incredibly beneficial, and I have a lot to be thankful for. But then also I also have left for reasons. If I was extremely happy and I felt like there was a lot of benefits and I was being taken seriously there, I probably would have been there longer as well. So it's just like, but also I'm glad for the way things worked out, because obviously we've done a lot of shit together, guys. Like even the 30-day stream we did recently, there's no way I could have done that. We were still doing No Jumper News during that, but there's no way I could have done that like with the different schedule. So that's why I'm like super appreciative for everything that's been happened and all that stuff. But also just to completely answer all the questions, I am not going to be doing any more No Jumper content anymore. So you guys could basically say I'm not a part of No Jumper anymore, right? There it is. But I'm still cool with people that are there. You know what I mean? Like it's not like that's it. Like, oh, I'm no longer talking to anyone that is a part of No Jumper. I'm still cool with people that are there. We're still friends and shit like that. So there it is. I no longer work for No Jumper. Appreciate you guys. There we go.